So if verse 4 is clear, we'll move on to verse 5. It's along the similar lines, but we'll go deeper into the self-inquiry now. We have to make the waker sometimes realize that its waking world is illusory, but for the witness. The witness recognized that the waking world is an illusion in the previous verse. In this verse, we help the waker see, you know what? The witness. I am the witness and I see that your world is an illusion. So it's one level deeper or one level higher. Verse 5. Tantumatro bhavedeva patto yadvad vicharata atma tanmatram evad evadam tadvad vishvam vicharitam. On deep examination, cloth is found to be simply thread. This is nothing but thread. How do I know it? Like this I see it is cloth, but I really examine deeply. I dive deep. I use a needle, I use some pin, and I try to see, oh, it is individual threads. That is what is the first line. On deep examination, cloth is found to be simply thread. But did I see it in the first go? No, in the first go it appears like one. This appears one. It appears real. It appears whole, full, complete, entire. But on deep examination only, I notice, oh no, it's made of a zillion little threads. That is the first line. Tantu matro bhaved eva pato yadvad vicharata. So what is vichara? Vichara is not thinking. The witness cannot think. You will come to that understanding also if you've not arrived there yet. Vichara in Sanskrit is examination, deep observation, exploration, enquiry, investigation. It's got nothing to do with thinking. That's the first line. Second line, similarly, when the world is investigated, it is found to be nothing other than consciousness or the self. That is called the path of Atma Vichara. So have you started your path of Atma Vichara yet? Or are you trying to comprehend Advaita through the intellect? Can the mind or intellect get Advaita Vedanta? Not possible, no? How did we begin the session today? Take a step beyond the body, take a step beyond the mind. Which means also take a step beyond the intellect. If you've taken the step beyond the intellect, can the intellect look behind and understand? Can the intellect take a step beyond itself? No, it's impossible. That is why you hit a wall. Because you're trying to understand from the mind using the intellect and you fail there. Yeah? So you cannot intellectualize Advaita knowledge. You will hit a wall, you will not understand. You will keep repeating and revising the verses, but you will not get it. You'll pit-pat the verses, you'll memorize them. You will still not get it. Yeah? Atma Vichara is not thinking. You, the consciousness, cannot think. Because thinking is a program that runs on its own. It is only information. Thought is only information. It arises on its own, it plays for a while and it disappears. That is why when you want to stop thinking about a song that is continuously playing in your head, it just won't go away. If you were the thinker of the song, then you should have control over it. Oh, it's such a boring song. Why am I singing it? It's so silly. I want to stop singing the song. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And you're like, why is this song not going away? Because you are not the thinker. Understand this. You yourself have seen these glimpses of truth. You know them, but you choose to believe I am someone. The waker's ego hates the idea that I do not exist. It wants to say I am. I am someone. I am something. So I am the thinker. That is why you are holding on to the idea that you are the thinker. You, the consciousness, cannot think. Thinking is only a program. A thought arises of its own accord, plays for some time and disappears. Yeah? It's a program that it's running on its own. In reality, there is only data. There is only information of waking thought, and that data dies. There is no thought, there is no thinker, there is no thinking. The three do not exist. If they are, prove it to me. Draw a line where the thinker begins and thinking ends. Draw a line between where the thinking ends and the thought begins. Draw a line and show me. Show me the three. You will realize that you will not be able to demarcate between the thought, the thinker, and thinking. Yes. Then what is Atma Vichara? What is Atma Vichara? Atma Vichara is simply seeing what is. Deep, diligent, meticulous observation of what is. Not intellectual analysis, not argumentation building, not academic perfection, not writing a pedantic essay. No. Simply seeing what is. That is Atma Vichara. It was called Vipassana by the Buddha. Vipassana means special seeing. Seeing reality as it is. Not as you want to see it. Not even as you don't want to see it. But seeing reality as it is. Seeing does not need physical eyes. Even physical eyes don't exist. There's only the information of physical eyes. There is nothing like physical eyes. There is nothing like seeing, and there is nothing like seer. If there is, draw a line between them, demarcate them and show me. You will notice there is only program code or data about the eyes. There is no seeing happening through the eyes. There's only information of a scene that is visible. It is run by a hidden program code. Yeah. So when this becomes very clear, we experiment on a deeper level in the 10-day retreats, because I have a longer time with you there. So we do experiments and different self-inquiries on each. If you think you're capable, attempt to do it on your own at home. If you cannot, then come to a retreat. Attempt to draw a line between that which is seen, the process of seeing, S-E-E-I-N-G, and the seer. Can you draw a line? This is where the seer ends and the seeing begins, and this is where the seeing ends and the seen, S-E-E-N, begins. See if you are able to draw a line and prove it to me that they are three separate entities. Or is there simply one? On deeper dive, you will see, oh, there is only information of sight. There is nothing like eyes, there is nothing like seeing, there is nothing like the seen. Soon it becomes evident there is nothing like hearing, there is nothing like the hearer, and there's nothing like the sound that is heard. Similarly, it will become clear that there is nothing like the smeller, there's nothing like smelling, and nothing like the object of smell. Same with toucher, touching, and that which is touched, and same thing with smeller, sight, sound, smell, taste. Nothing like the taster, tasting, and the object that is tasted. All are simply one. You start recognizing it's all oneness. There is only information or data. It becomes evident that the waking world is only data. There is only one waking perception at a time. So there is only one waking perception information at a time. There is no waking world, there is no waker that is constantly present. There is simply waking data. One waking data at a time. Similarly, there is nothing like dreaming. There is just dream data, one at a time. There is nothing like deep sleep. And there is nothing like turiya even. Nothing like the sense of I am even. Yeah. Finally, you will come to the recognition it is keval jnana. It is only knowledge. That is the meaning of the cloth is only thread. The world is only information. And information is only consciousness. There is nothing outside of consciousness. Yeah. The Buddha went very deep into this, and he called it bhavanga in the language Pali. Pali was the language of the common man during Buddha's time. Bhavanga means the flow of becoming or the flow of isness. This flow keeps moving with rapidity. One after the other, there is perception after another, perception after another. And the perceptions are so close and so quick that it gives an illusion of continuity. Do you remember in school you had that flipper book? On one page the animated character is standing like this, on the second page he's standing like this, third page he's standing like this, fourth page he's standing like this, fifth page he's standing like this, sixth like this, and you flip through the book and you see him wave at you. Do you remember that flipper book? Yeah? Yes. What is it? It is just one image after another, after another, after another, right? And when you flip quickly through it, it appears to be moving. Yeah? Similarly, there is simply information of perception. Even right now, there is only information of perception of Ekta sound. And it is in such rapidity, and the continuity gives me an illusion that I am listening to something complete, the entire Advaita wisdom in a nutshell of Ashtavakra's verse 5. No. There's actually simply one perception at a time, one perception, one code running after another. And it's projecting this informational sound, one after another. Buddha dived deep into this. Yeah? And he calls them mind moments. Yeah? In Pali, the word is Shanikavada, or the doctrine of instant perishing. A deeper dive will reveal that the gaps of nothingness sandwiched between perceptions are so minuscule that the perception only gets registered and the gap does not get registered. But if you slow down the mind and you come to a point observing in meditation from the standpoint of the witness, you will start noticing that the gaps are larger, they are not minuscule. Yeah? And on deep self-exploration, it will be revealed that I am the gap. In the gap, it is I standing alone. So those who are very interested in how Buddha came to it, it is in the book by Nagarjuna, Moola Madhyamaka Karika. If you're interested in reading, it's like there are 27 examinations of Buddha's principles. Yeah, and obviously it's hardcore, lawyer type reading, very complicated, but if you are a reader and the intellectual type, you will enjoy it. You can dive into that book later, but it is essential that you start the path of self-experimentation. If you don't experiment, you are not getting there, period. You're not getting there, impossible. The only way there is to convince the mind by direct seeing. If I don't see it directly, I will never ever get convinced, because the I wants to be someone. It wants to hold on to something. It does not recognize that it is something beyond, something more valuable. So I have to show it that, see, you are something more valuable, then it will drop this, that which is less valuable. Do you see what I'm saying? And to show it, you need direct seeing, S-E-E-I-N-G, direct seeing or direct experience, which comes only by self-inquiry. Very clear? So, if you are ready for one more self-inquiry, we can do with some object that you have in your room. Ready for one more self-inquiry? Don't worry, you don't have to write down the self-inquiry. Avanti will record it for us and share it with all of us. Let's be very serious during the self-inquiry. Let's keep our cameras on. Bhavani, Shubhra, your cameras are off. Avanti, you can remove them. They can join later if they want. Yeah, if your cameras are off, we assume that you're not interested, you're away. Yeah, so then we will remove you. It is a path of direct experience. You have to experiment here. Okay. So let's experiment with any object. Everybody is making notes, so you have paper in front of you. Yeah. So we will use paper. Everybody has some paper. I'll give the example of paper only in this. So if you all have paper, that will be easier. So what we do, this self-exploration, self-inquiry, this is the direct seeing. I attempt to see who I the witness, not the waker. The waker might be holding the paper, but I, the witness, have to attempt to see the reality as it is. Yes, that is direct seeing. So now simply keep the paper in front of you. Look at the paper. Simply look at it. Attempt to take a step beyond the waker and recognize you are the witness of the waker that is looking at the paper. Are you able to recognize the waker and its waking world object, the paper? Yes, and you are beyond. You are the witness. Now you have to do the self-exploration from this third standpoint, the witness's standpoint. Clear? From the witness's standpoint, look at the waking world object called the paper. Does the paper have its own inherent independent existence beyond the witnessing field? Can the paper have its own inherent independent existence beyond the witnessing field? The waker is using his so-called eyes to see the paper. The paper is off-white in color. So the waker's sense of sight says the paper exists at the time when the white color is being perceived. The waker says the paper exists at the time when the white color is being perceived by the waker's eyes. Now touch the paper. The waker's sense of touch says that the paper has a smooth texture. It's nice and smooth. So, that means that the paper exists at the time when the smoothness is perceived. Remember, sense of touch cannot see. Sense of touch can only talk about smoothness or hardness. Can only speak about texture. So sense of touch says that the paper has a smooth texture. So the paper exists at the time when the smoothness is being perceived. Now stop moving your finger on the paper. Become still. Still holding the paper, but become still. Do you recognize smoothness is not perceived? The smoothness has disappeared. In fact, the sense of touch has disappeared. To experience the sense of touch again, you have to move it again. You have to move the finger again on the paper. Do you realize this? So what is sense of touch saying? Sense of touch is saying that the smooth texture exists only on movement. And so the paper exists only when the smoothness is perceived. Sense of touch cannot see, sense of touch cannot smell, cannot hear, cannot taste. Has this become clear what I am saying? Now move to the third. Move the paper closer to the waker's ears and hear the crackling sound. Now the waker's sense of hearing says that the paper makes a crackling sound. The waker's sense of hearing says that the paper makes a crackling sound. Now stop. Just listen. So, the sense of hearing says that the paper exists at the time the crackling sound is there. Now the crackling sound is not there. Can the sense of hearing say that the paper exists now? No. Remember, sense of hearing cannot see, cannot touch, cannot taste or smell. It can only hear. So the waker's sense of hearing says that the paper exists only when the crackling sound is being produced or being perceived. Dive deeper into this. Dive deeper into this. You are at this standpoint, the standpoint of the witness. Remember, you are observing the waker do all this experimentation. Now take the paper from the side and taste it. It has a bland, woody taste. What does sense of taste say? Stop tasting it now. Sense of taste says it is bland and woody. So the paper exists only at that time when the bland woody taste is being perceived. When there is no bland woody taste, there is no paper. Do you see it? Remember, sense of taste cannot see, cannot touch, cannot hear, cannot smell. It can only taste. Yeah. Now take the paper closer to the nose and smell it. Those who have a very sensitive nose will know that it has a subtle woody aroma. Those who are not too sensitive in smell will say, oh, there is no smell. Yeah. So sense of smell says it has a bland, a subtle aroma, a very subtle aroma. So the paper exists at the time that the subtle woody aroma is being perceived. Other than that, the sense of smell cannot give testimony for the existence of the paper. Do you see where I am going with this? There is one perception at a time. One perception at a time. Yes. That particular sense can give the testimony of the existence of the object only when that particular information pertaining to that sense is available. Not otherwise. Yeah. On deeper Atma Vichara, it becomes evident that these 5 perceptions do not exist all at once. They are not continuously present. They are not permanent straight line. Yeah. Therefore, if they are not continuously present, they cannot provide testimony for each other. Sense of sight cannot say, yes, sense of taste says bland woody taste, so it exists. No, they cannot provide testimony for each other. They cannot even provide testimony to each other because there is only one perception at a time. Now go deeper. If you've reached here, for those sharp ones, go one step deeper. If there is only one perception at a time, is it really perception or is there knowledge of perception from the witness's standpoint? You are sitting in the audience, you are seeing the waker on the screen in his waking world. It is simply knowledge of one scene. One perception at a time, one perception at a time. And there is a gap between 2 perceptions. That is why you can say one perception at a time, right? Otherwise, you would never be able to tell one perception from the other. It would be one long single perception. Do you notice the gap of nothingness that is sandwiched between 2 perceptions? This gap erases whatever memory you have from the previous perception. Do you notice it? Yeah, you put your spectacles on your head, yeah, and you start doing the experiment, and now you want to make notes and you're looking, where are the spectacles? You just forgot that you put them up here. Again you remember and then it comes down. Yes, happens to all of us. The gap has the capacity to erase perceptions. It keeps erasing the previous perception. It keeps erasing the previous perception. That is why the more you hug your child, it's not enough. You want to hug more. The more you hug your partner, it's not sufficient. You want to touch more. The more you eat, it's not sufficient. You want to eat more. Stomach says, I'm done. But because the gap wiped away the perception of that beautiful or delicious flavor, you are not satiated, you want it more. Again you want it more because after every perception, the gap wipes away, erases the previous perception. What you are not recognizing is that you are the witness. The witness is not the waker. The waker can taste, the witness cannot taste. The waker can see, the witness cannot see. The waker can touch and feel the passion, experience it, enjoy it. The witness cannot enjoy. The witness is like as if behind a glass wall. He wants to enjoy, but he cannot enjoy. Don't you have that feeling? You're never satiated. How much ever you touch, how much ever you taste, how much ever you smell, how much ever you see, how much ever you hear, it's not sufficient. You want more. Do you realize this? Yes, because you are that witness that is beyond the glass wall. You can never be satiated because it is only information, it is data. Data cannot satisfy you. How much ever delicious food you see in a 3D movie and the food is even coming towards you, it cannot satiate you, it cannot satiate your hunger, right? It's exactly like that. It is like that 3D movie. I don't know what they are called. You know, those virtual things, they come at you. Like the movie Avatar. Yeah, you have this whole forest coming, things coming at you. Like that it is. That is what is the waking state. You are the witness beyond. You want to enjoy the waking state, but you are unable to enjoy. Do you see that? Dive deeper, dive deeper. If you're still not able to dive deeper, don't worry. We will get there. Yeah? Just notice that there is little more work for me to do. I have to get there and understand what this gap does, moment to moment to moment. Yeah? So the 5 senses cannot provide testimony to each other. There is only one perception at a time. Between 2 perceptions, there is a gap. The gap erases perceptions. That is why there is no sense of satisfaction or contentment. What does thought do? In retrospect, thought puts all of these 5 perceptions together and then says, the paper must exist, has to exist. Sense of sight said yes, sense of sound said yes, sense of taste said yes, sense of touch said yes, sense of smell said yes. It puts all the 5 yeses together in retrospect and says the paper must exist. And it exists even when I, the witnessing field, am not there. Is it possible? It is not possible. The thought which is saying this itself is a perception. Thought cannot recognize the gap in between 2 thoughts because the thought arises and the thought ends. Where it ends, the gap begins. How can the thought go into the gap? It cannot recognize the gap. Do you see that? So, intellectualization cannot get you there because thought cannot provide testimony for the existence of the gap. Therefore, whatever the thought says is not proof enough. Clear? Whatever perception of sight says, sense of sight says, is not proof enough. Whatever sense of sound says is not proof enough. Whatever sense of smell says is not proof enough. Whatever sense of taste says is not proof enough. And whatever sense of touch says is not proof enough. Thought, which combines all of these, can never go into the gap between 2 thoughts. So it's not proof enough. Feeling. Feeling has its own language. It takes what it likes from this and discards what it does not like. Yeah? It is very partial and it keeps changing its party every day. So it is not proof enough. Yeah? There is no proof of the existence of that paper sitting in front of the waker. There is no proof of the inherent, independent existence of the paper that is sitting in front of the waker right now. It is all simply knowledge. Knowledge. Waking world knowledge. Even the idea of the space and time in which that paper exists right now, the waking space, the waking time in which that paper exists, that is also simply a thought. Because the waking space-time is different from the dream space-time. Do you realize this? And there is no space-time in deep sleep. So space-time is also not continuous. Space-time is also not independently, inherently existing apart from the witnessing awareness field. So what does this finally bring us to? When I am, then the world is there. Then the paper is there and that paper exists in space-time. When I am not, the world is not. I am, therefore is the world. When I am not, the world is not. If you see this self-exploration in your direct seeing, not intellectualization, because the intellect cannot get there, in your direct seeing, then you understand the second line of this verse. When the world is investigated into, it is found to be no other than oneself. Clear? Verse 5 is clear. Remember, every time you slip from this understanding, remind yourself, only I, the witness of all these perceptions, can know the gap in between the perceptions. The perceptions cannot know the gap in between themselves. Thoughts cannot know the gap in between two thoughts. Feelings cannot know the gap in between feelings. Therefore, they cannot provide testimony for the existence of the world as an inherently, independently existing world apart from me, the witness consciousness. Because I, the witness consciousness, live beyond. I am beyond the limited domain range of these waking perceptions. Yeah? So I have to always step beyond to the witness stand, and that's where I have to start the investigation. So once you recognize this, I don't have time today to go to the next verse, but I'll give you a little hint to move ahead on your own. Once you recognize, oh, the world is also simply an illusion that appears when I am and disappears when I am not. So there is no need to be distracted by the world. Drop, let it go. It's only illusory. Now look at the I that was saying, I am, therefore the world is. Look at this I. What is this I? You work on this I. This is beyond verse 5. On your own work on this. If you cannot work, then you are more than welcome to join us in the Ashtavakra Samhita 10-day retreat happening in Illinois. We'll work on this. So now you turn towards the I and you recognize, oh, this I also disappears and dissolves when there is nothing to see. The I arises from nothingness, dissolves into nothingness. Keep noticing this I arising from nothingness, dissolving into nothingness. When you recognize this and it becomes clear in your seeing as a constant recognition, that means you have gone beyond to pure consciousness level, the higher witness, the oneness. Now you see the oneness. Yeah. This is where I will leave you for this particular Ashtavakra weekend. Yeah, we've completed 5 verses from chapter 2, but if you feel this is very high level, it means you did not build your foundation with chapter 1 well. So do the chapter 1 shlokas properly. Yeah, they are all available on the website, on YouTube. They are all available. If you want, you can join the Ashtavakra weekly session on Zoom. It's on Thursdays. It's beginning this week on Thursdays. Chapter 1, verse 1. Begin from there. See that you build a strong foundation and then you come to establishing in chapter 2. And then you will start seeing, oh, the sense of I disappears. It's a moment of joy. It's wow, the wow moment. Aho! The I dissolves, the I disappears. I do not exist. I do not exist. I let the person die. In fact, the person never existed. Yeah? There was only an idea that the person exists. That idea also drops away. Then you actually start living. Because now you are living as yourself. Till now you were wearing the mask of the waker and pretending to be somebody else. You remove this mask and now you start living life as what you truly are. You are Ananda. You don't need to get Ananda from somewhere. You yourself are the source of Ananda, bliss. So, I leave you with this homework. You must do this homework. You must attempt to see the I arising from the nothingness and dropping and disappearing back into nothingness. It's very easy to see it at the end of the dream. Yeah, when the dream collapses, you see the I falling, and again from the deep sleep, when the dream comes up, the I arises first and then the dream comes. Very easy to see in the dream. And when you become very clear in your seeing, you will start seeing it in your waking. Oh, it happens moment to moment. Moment to moment. When there is no you, there is no I. You and I are born together. You and I collapse together. Yeah? It's the sense of you. When you see the world as you or it, that is the time when I is there. When you drop seeing the world as you or it, even the I collapses. This is your main homework. Write to me if you are able to see this. If not, please don't be hard on yourself like I told you. Yes, please have some compassion with yourself. It takes time. Start practicing Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana. Start attending Ashtavakra weekly on Zoom every Thursday. Yeah. And maybe you build your foundation with Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana at home and weekly knowledge and journaling the Ashtavakra points, and you come to a moment where, aha, I also see it now. Clear? So now we'll take a 2-minute restroom break and we'll just have a question answer session. If you have any questions, please write them down and send them to the host, and the host can then ask me the questions. Yeah? See that your questions are concise, precise, clearly written down so the host can read them out. Okay? See you in 5 minutes.